Oh, hello Internet! Nearly the oldest still public content on my channel is my video on the animated movie of the manga Fist of the North Star, and how it is a Taoist parable of masculinity. Strictly metaphorically, of course. There is a problem of masculinity that comes from the obsolescence of patriarchy. History is such that every man does reckon with a change in the nature of it. I will also say that we should remember that women have held power throughout history, through the power that they have always held over men. But I say this not to castigate women for that. The dynamic is always established naturally, and both male and female energy have their appropriate normative forms at time t. And of course, this form can change as we are seeing into the modern world. The rest of this video is exclusively about men, however, although all comments and opinions are welcome. So, on to the Fist of the North Star. Disclaimer, I do not have a nuanced understanding of the Japanese context and symbolism, and I'm not talking about either the manga or the series. This is just the, I think it was 1984 movie. But the TLDR for me is that male energy and female energy can be represented in their own sub-forms of yin and yang. Thus, of the 5 male leads of the movie, mild spoilers, Shin represents unbalanced male yin energy, Rao unbalanced male yang energy, Rei represents balanced male yin energy, and Ken, the hero, balanced male yang energy, which was the necessary power in the context of the movie's plot. The 5th character, Jaggi, represents the rudderless life, hedonistic and devoid of principles. Of the 5, Ken and Rei are obviously the most admirable as role models. At least, I think so. But as I said at the time, there is something to admire in each of the antagonists too. Rao has a driven, goal-oriented motion, and Shin perceives that the fate of the world is in the balance, even if he himself has lost hope. On the flip side though, both Rao and Shin take the exceptionalist path of power justifying morality, which is why they are unsuitable as political leaders. Although, and I've only thought about this later, we never see Ken or Rei express any interest in leading, and though we do tend to see this as a generally desirable trait, we are left to wonder, would they be any good at it? The potency of the message of Fist of the North Star for me, though, is based on the fact that, in a post-nuclear wasteland, in the most harsh and punishing environment that humans can likely survive in, to build something new and seek a way forward for humanity, there must be an awareness of how and why changes are made. Or, as Ryakan puts it,
"Power without perception is spiritually useless and therefore of no true value."
And it is the men who recognise that the heedless use of power is rarely beneficial to the body politic who are worthy to lead that politic, rather than those who believe that how they choose to wield power is all the justification they require. Clearly, in the 21st century, a fair number of models of masculinity take more from Rao and Shin, or even sadly from Jaggi, than from Ken and Rei. First of all, I would say that if someone's fortune rests on you following, or worse, purchasing their advice, then watch out. I don't mean sponsorships, nor do I mean practical training. What I mean is that if someone is making money selling you their lifestyle or their mindset as advice, but of course that is on you, you're responsible for making it all happen, then this is a huge red flag, because they are incentivized to manipulate and lie to you. And of course, there is no way we can touch on this subject without touching on women. Wait, there used to be a level of nuance about sexual inequality as the world came to realise that modern life did not lend itself inevitably to the political domination of one biological sex. One word represents this lost nuance: chauvinism. Technically it would be male chauvinism, but female chauvinism is also a thing. However, in the later 20th century, it was often abbreviated because we were almost always talking about male chauvinism. The important thing to clarify is the difference between male chauvinism and misogyny, because they are not the same thing. And you can argue that they are both bad, but they are not the same thing. When it comes to sexual advances, it does get more complicated, of course. Some men are always just going to be artless, especially nowadays, for various complicated reasons. They do kind of need some leeway. That said, of course, there should be some bright lines around bodily autonomy, and they should be applied equally to all humans. That seems right, right? To just finish off with the heroes, it's unfortunate, but Although Ken and Rei are both powerful on the level of Shin or Rao, they both travel alone and engage mostly with their own acquaintances. Rei lives in a village while Ken, after his revival, is nomadic in his search for Julia. They do not seek to control vast swathes of the world. They do not assume that their model of the world must be a sacred icon valid for all. And this gives them an internal rather than an external self-assurance. But unfortunately, it also risks that they cede the political realm to the Shins and the Raos of the world. But then it is the balanced strength that Rei and Ken embody that ensures that the complex forms of humanity continue to emerge without domination or subjugation. And if you are still inclined towards Rao or Shin's way of viewing things, then please let me know why in the comments. Bye for now.